Hello, everybody, and welcome to Be Inspired show, Think Big and Be Inspired show. Today, we have a very special guest. He has worn multiple hats, and he's been in coaching wrestling for years, and he moved in entrepreneurship, and he also has a lot of experience in banking and finance. So, please welcome with me, Coach Tommy Pavia. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for coming in, and it will be a great show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
It's my pleasure always, Coach. Coach, if we start with your wrestling career and tell us about how did you start in wrestling, and did you start in coaching, or you yourself were a wrestler in university, and what are the lessons you learned from wrestling, and tell us about your passion in wrestling.
Yeah, it certainly is a passion of mine for sure. And, you'll notice with all the questions that you'll ask, a lot of the answers, if not every single answer, really is peppered with failure, quite honestly, a lot of failure. So, grew up in a basement in New York with my single parent mom, who's just an amazing woman still to this day. Um, Baby sister was a phenomenal athlete. My other sister in the middle, and then my elder brother. So four of us all together. And being an athlete back then was like really kind of chasing your identity. Trying to find some type of worth. So as a young kid, I saw that as a pathway to kind of make a name for myself, and I failed miserably at it. Seventh grade, I finally go out for so this is middle school, junior high school, before high school. I go out for the wrestling team, and I wrestle three matches. And just for the listeners that may not know wrestling, being put back against your will in the sport of wrestling is not a good thing.
Yeah.
They call it a pin, right? So I
Yes.
I had three matches. You're supposed to have a lot more, but I'll tell you that in a second. I had three matches. Every single match, I got pinned in the first period. So I was
Wow.
terrible. I got
Yeah.
I was humiliated. And then my last match, my third match, I dislocated my elbow. So I was
Oh
out for
my
the.
God. Mm.
I remember walking around kind of with my tail between my legs in eighth grade. I had no intention of ever doing any sport ever again. I had just so many failures of different sports. And then I had a gentleman named Joe Hurley, who was my coach, and he just put his hand on my shoulder and he said to me, Tommy, you're coming out this year, right? I think you're going to do really good. And the fact that he had belief in me
Yeah.
set a spark, that fire that's still ignited today. It is absolutely mind blowing when I look back at what that man did, and as a man of faith, I think God had his hand in that the whole time. And then it set off really a journey of understanding dedication. That I didn't have to be the most talented guy in the room, but if I was the most dedicated and the hardest working in every
Exactly.
room, that I could make some huge strides, and that's what I did. And went on to wrestle in college, university, and then I went on to wrestle on the Air Force national team with Olympic
Wow.
athletes. And really, injuries were a part of the challenge that kept me from the dream. But quite honestly, I tell people the story that at the time that I was going around the mid 90s, 96 Olympics, 1996 Olympics, the guy in my weight class that won the Olympic trials in the United States wind up winning
And
Olympic
he
gold.
won the Olympic. I know he's a wrestler. He went for wrestling. His name is you tell me, Coach. I cannot
Yeah,
remember the name, but I know him well.
yeah, Tom Brands, and Tom won
Yeah.
Olympic gold, and like I tell people, the best guy was on the team, and it wasn't me, right? So
Yeah.
that was that really kind of catapulted me into coaching. I always knew I wanted to be a coach, and so I coached for a little while I was competing in university. Kind of double dip there. They paid for things for me so that I can go ahead and wrestle as well, and I competed at a pretty high level. And then I went on, got my degree, and then I started coaching in high school. I was a head high school coach in
Wow.
1994.
Yeah.
That was, I hadn't stopped until 2019. I just temporarily stopped the high school that I coached here locally, um, so that I can continue my journey with my startup company.
Yeah, so wow, it's a great career coach. It's like 20, 25 years, I think you were
Yes,
coaching, and really the story is very inspiring how someone took care of you, although you were, as you said, you lost your first three matches, and but you know, as you said, it's dedication. Even if you felt that you're down, you have to go up again and compete again. That's amazing. Andre Sacarino is here with us, and he's sending his greetings to you, coach.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I think you asked what are the lessons that were learned. Well, you just brought up one major one, right? That you can get knocked
Yeah.
down and you can get back up again. And it
Yes.
sounds very cliche, but it's so true. But I think part of the extra lesson is to realize that you got to have good people around you. When
Yes.
I was blessed. I had this man that believed in me as a young man, and he believed in a bunch of other young men too, and changed their lives as well, and impacted us. And that's what I want to do with my life, continuing on to impact people in a positive way.
Yeah, that's the lesson I think you got from wrestling and from your coach. So I think also you moved this same lesson to all the people that you coached in wrestling, and that's the beauty I think of sports, because I'm a big fan, as I told you before, of sports, all kind of sports that you see people knocked down and getting up again, and it's really sport is all about resilience and getting up again and fighting and competing again. It's really nice.
Well, I think a lot of people resonate with it, Ahmed, because that's life, right? I mean, that's life. It's
Yes.
a series of getting knocked down and hopefully getting back up again, time after time after time. Not every story is a glorious story, but, the fact
True.
that you do those things to not just get back up, but maybe while you're down, pick somebody else up with you. That's
Yes. Yes.
really incredibly rewarding.
That's true, coach. Coach, what about Master the Six? Tell us about this coaching program that you did, or the Master the Six. What was it about, and what's the six? How did you get this name?
Yeah, so I used to hear a coach. I'll go with how we get the name. I used to have a coach take his finger and point at your head. It's a 6 inches
Yeah.
between the ears. You got to master the 6 inches between the ears. This is, gosh, decades ago,
Ah,
and it kind of stuck
okay.
with me. And one of the things that I struggled with as an athlete, for a certain time period, in the early part of my career, was that I knew that I was working as hard as anybody could possibly work. I knew I was probably overtraining is what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
Yet I would go out on the mat to perform, and I didn't feel like it was congruent with my potential. My performance was not congruent with my potential. And I literally, this is how things changed. This is back in high school. I literally went to a library and I grabbed a book. It was sports psychology, and I started turning the pages. And I remember being in that library and kind of almost looking to my left and looking to my right to see, like, does anybody realize that the answers for my problems are right inside this book, and I'm discovering it right now. So when I dove into that book head first, and then I looked for other books like it so that I can find out and learn as much as I possibly could, because quite selfishly, I wanted to be able to perform at the highest levels. And if there was something mentally keeping me from doing that, well, then I wanted to find out what the solution was. And eventually I did. I created a curriculum, and then I call it Master the Six. And I had a company called Superior Athletes Consulting. So where we teach athletes from all different walks of life, all different stages, how to master the 6 inches between the ears. Because some people, they can't deal with pressure very well. They haven't learned how to do
Yes.
it. And then
Yes.
others, it could be that they don't think that they're good enough, and yet they have coaches all around them telling them that they're super talented. And there's so many different variables. It's not a magic pill, but like any sport where you have to have multiple repetitions to learn the skill set of that
Yeah.
sport, to understand that the mental piece is the same exact way. And so when you understand that and really put the value there, you can really get to a place where you can have duplicatable routines that get you to putting your potential and your performance together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sports is very important psychology, as you said, due to the a lot of pressure, of course, and a lot of fans, especially if you get to be famous, you'll be surrounded by a lot of fans, and you can lose it easily, and cannot sustain to being on the top. I totally agree with you, but it's good to know that I didn't know that about the name. I wanted to understand Master the Six. I think it's very creative name.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Tell us about also banking and finance. I was going through actually your profile. I didn't know. I know that you're in coaching and all that. I was surprised that you work in banking and
Yeah.
financing. How did this come?
So back in 2003, had a friend of mine. I was teaching and coaching, and had a friend of mine who just shared with me a little bit more about being an entrepreneur, and that dreams, goals, and dreams needed to be funded, right? And I totally connected with that. I understood that, being an Olympic hopeful at one point in my life, that you got to raise money. It's not like it is today where you have all these training centers where you can go to and the resources are there. So there was a personal interest in it, and I started looking into personal finance. And then, quite honestly, I was growing a family with my wife of eventually 5 kids, and they cost money.
Yeah.
So I started kind of looking into that, and I found out I was really interested in it. So 2002, 2003, I kind of got into finance. I got my securities licenses where I can do investing and so on and so forth, and that kind of set forth that journey a little bit deeper into being an entrepreneur. And so, quite honestly, the banking piece came very, very late. I'm in banking now for several reasons, but I know that I can use my life skills, my financial skills, my people skills, specifically helping people, obviously, but also helping businesses. That's where I really
Yeah.
light up. The coaching aspect of dealing with a business owner that has employees, that has lots of multiple irons in the fire, if you will, that they're trying to navigate through to have a successful business. And then on top of it, COVID-19. I mean,
Yeah.
you need a coach, right? And having a financial coach is how I look at myself, so that I can equip these business owners and these folks to deal with either their personal business, their personal finance, or their actual businesses. And I've been fortunate to have success with that, with the bank that I'm at. I have a great team that I work with. And excited about being able to impact people's lives through that. But that came pretty late.
Yeah, I've seen it came late, but it's nice. Of course, it's always, as you said, very good to help people around you, and this is part of banking and financing. That's good. That's a good, really a good story to hear. And so, tell us also about your LinkedIn. How did you start the journey on LinkedIn? And I see also you have like a program, LinkedIn Amplifier. So, take us about the story, please.
Absolutely. So I think LinkedIn is still, in some regards, a hidden gem in the
Yes.
as a social media platform. And again, Shanae Moret has really been the one that has exposed this the most. I've always kind of felt that way. I'd say the last 5 years, I've been on LinkedIn for a while, a good long while, and I always saw it as everything but having a resume online. I think in the beginning, when it first came out, it was just, I wouldn't say it was branded that way, but that was what people perceived.
Yeah.
Fast forward to not too long ago, and Shanae Moret has flipped it on its head and has shown, 2 years or less, that personal branding, connecting with people because they're people, is the way to go. I mean, to create a personal brand. And so I've really tried to take that into all facets of my life on the business side. Even going back to the banking for a second, I created an onboarding process with anybody that I meet with, so that when they have really good experiences with me, they'll go to a Google review, they'll put my name in there.
Yeah. That's very important. It's very important.
You know,
Yes.
So a personal branding, perspective, I think is important to understand. And then LinkedIn just has so many value facets to it that it's tough to ignore once you start really digging into understanding the algorithms and the metrics. And you don't have to be super smart to do this. You just
Yeah.
have to look at the evidence. And I think you having a show, I'm getting ready to do a show not too long
Yeah.
from now. The fact that we can talk about multiple pieces of my profile, your profile, and still have people connected and interested, I think is really just part of the evidence.
Yeah, I agree with you, of course, that consistency and doing different things and building your brand is it became that's the reason why people now are on LinkedIn, which is different than 10 years back or something, where the people thought it as like CV or something, just putting your CV there. But it's about humans and about human interactions and how people interact with each other. Totally agree with you.
Yeah, then I think about the LinkedIn amplifier method. I've been actually
Yeah,
doing it for a while, and now I have it kind of on steroids, so to speak. Because of what I've learned with Shanae as well, and from
yeah,
other. And I'll just share a couple of techniques. So one thing that I like to do um, is I'll go ahead and I'll get to somebody's profile that I might have an interest in, or just want to help too, right?
yeah,
Maybe they've been supporting my posts, my work, and it could just be with likes, no comments. And what I'll do is I'll
yeah,
go to their profile, I'll scroll down to all activity, I'll click on
yeah.
their profile where it says all activity, and I'll go through their posts. I'll click on
Yes.
the tab that says posts, and I'll go through their posts and I'll review a number of them in depth, and then several of them I'll kind of peruse through, and I'll like them. Some I'll comment on, and then
Yeah.
move on to the next. And I'll do that, for maybe
Yeah.
15 minutes a day, and it's amazing what happens. Number one, if you've been on LinkedIn, none of these are going to be revelations to you. But if you've been on LinkedIn, people know that if someone's been on your profile, you can see that they were on your profile. So you can
True.
see whether or not they connected with you. They can see, and oftentimes, I would say 50% or more of the time that I do that, I almost always have someone request to connect with me. And then
True. True.
multiplier effect comes, that amplifier effect. The other thing that I'll do, and I think this is underused, is I'll get to a few, not a ton, just a few very strategically lined up in my industry. So it might be for my startup company, it might be fitness, it might be for the banking, it might be finance, and I'll go to some groups. And those groups, you can message any one of those people that you're not currently connected with. But
Yeah. Yeah.
one
True.
thing I stay away from that really helps in the amplifier effect is I don't spam people with these long
Yeah. True.
questions.
True.
I understand the heart of the people that they're trying to do some good things, and they may even have some great things that they want to share, but it's just going to fall on deaf ears 9 times out of 10. People are just
Yeah.
going to archive it. They're going to slide it over and move on to something else. So you're really just building a relationship with nothing expected in return, unless you are currently trying to do some type of business transaction where you already know that person. Get to know them first. Get to
Exactly.
know like
Exactly.
look at them first before yourself, and then you can really amplify your reach in LinkedIn and your personal brand for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. If you go through people posts, like it, talk to people first, and even if you're trying to connect, like send a friendly message first. Don't just cold sell something or these things that, as you said, it goes to archive or through.
So like the other thing I'll do is I'll do stories.
Yeah.
So pretty new, right? So LinkedIn stories is
Yeah.
pretty new, and I'll go on to LinkedIn stories and I'll look at the viewers. On the lower left hand side, you can see that you've had a number of viewers. So it might say
Yes.
102 viewers, 12 viewers, whatever it says. And then I'll
Yes.
click on the viewers and I'll go through and I'll literally just share a message with them saying thank you for viewing my LinkedIn stories.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
All I'll do. I mean, I don't do anything else. And sometimes what I'll do on top of that is I'll go to where their stories are if they have them, or their most recent post and like it, because
Yes.
I want to return, the attention to them once again. And I think that is really what the amplifier method's all about. Return the attention.
Exactly, it's a nice gesture because the people they spend time to look at your stories. They want to connect with you or want to build a relation with you. So exactly, you're doing giving back in return, and that's all about the amplifying theory. Now I get it, coach. Yeah, it's a good name actually. Also,
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
you're welcome. Take us through the new project that you're very excited about, the 360 program, and what's happening, and what's the news, and tell us about the project. What's all of the project about, and when is the launch?
I am so excited about this. And quite honestly, we're talking about authenticity and we're talking about being genuine and all those things. So, I would be remiss if I wasn't going to share with the listeners and yourself, Ahmed, that I'm equally scared as I am excited.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a journey. Back in 2007, actually, I went to an entrepreneurs conference, and I didn't have the money to get there. I had a friend of mine pay for the plane ticket, and it was a total surprise. I had no idea. And I went to Stamford, Connecticut, living here in North Carolina, and 400 people were in a room that were all over the world. And I mean, all over the world. They just had every part of this conference was about taking your ideas online and having digital products. So I was blown away at some of the ideas that people were taking in. And, not only were they making great income, but they were changing the lives of people that needed solutions to problems in their life. And so I actually came up, thinking of the 6 inches between the ear. I came up with a brand called the Maniac Mental Skills Coach. And that was my brand. And I had a membership website that I built for a short period of time where people can come kind of a la carte and take, a little mini course on visualization, a mini course on how to master pressure, 30 seconds before competing, different things like that. And I had a lot of entrepreneurs say, man, this is amazing, Tommy. And quite honestly, one of those failure stories again. It crashed and burned in 6 months. People weren't willing to use their debit cards. I honestly never figured out what it was. I just figured it was the market just wasn't ready for it, quite honestly. Or maybe I just created a good enough product. But that actually led to the 360 strength training systems, what I'm currently doing now. 6 months after I felt sorry for myself, I had an idea. And that idea sat in a notebook for 2 years. And I remember we were moving in North Carolina, and I was opening up a box, and I saw this notebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's that idea. And I had a friend of mine, the same friend that gave me that ticket to that entrepreneur, who I knew would tell me, hey, this either stinks or it's good. Told me the last two, and then another year later we had a prototype, and then the rest is history where we're at currently right now. We're a pre-revenue startup. We're about 4 to 6 weeks away from launching, and the 360 Strength Trainer, which is from the 360 Strength Training Systems LLC, is a total body exercise system that has 3 different parts and some accessories with it. So picture dumbbells with wheels and a barbell with wheels, where you can attach resistance bands. You can attach weighted sledge. It's indoor, it's outdoor, it's mobile, it's heavy duty, but it can, whether you're a soccer mom or you're some high level Olympian, it really covers the range of people that just want to see and feel the effects of solid principle resistance training and see it fast. So we're super, super excited about what we have in front of us. And it's a lot to figure out, but we have a good team. I've got a couple of guys out of Princeton University Shout out to Sean Gray, who's on LinkedIn, and Chris Perez, also on LinkedIn. We actually have a young man that's an intern for us that's doing some great things. A guy named Grant Cuomo, also a student athlete, also a wrestler. We're all wrestlers, by the way.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really neat, and it wasn't designed that we went down that road. It just kind of organically came to that spot. But we're a fitness strength company creating innovative strength tools to really give people the greatest results that they can get and get them fast.
That's good that you're all on the same page, and all the wrestlers and friends. It seemed that you have friends that you knew before, and of course the idea is it's very convenient during now COVID, and all people cannot go. Not all people are relaxed to go to the gym and train in the gym, so it's practical. And I think and I hope and I pray it will be a great success, coach.
I can't thank you enough for that, my friend. I mean, it means more than I can express. We've tested it for years. We've had professional athletes like the Carolina Panthers, Minnesota Twins, NASCAR, and just some other high-level athletes, and just some regular folks like myself that have used it, and it's not just because I invented it. It sounds corny even hearing me say I invented anything, right? I never set out to be an inventor. I was always an athlete and a coach. And I just took an idea and I took it a couple steps further maybe than some other folks. But not because I'm smart, because, again, it sat in a notebook for 2 years. Just because I had good people around me that I went to and they were able to help and guide me. And, I just recently put a post on LinkedIn that I think the post was very, very short. And I said, I've had a lot of people help me in my life. And I've had a lot of people help me in business. Thank you. And I mean that. I mean, I've had so many people on my side that have just been incredibly supportive, and I can't thank them enough. So this is hopefully going to be the success of a ton of people that surround me and the team that I work with.
Yeah, that's great, coach. And what I take from this is writing your ideas and keeping them, saving them. You don't know when you're going to go back to them and put them alive. And it's good that you write, like you journal some ideas that come to you. Then you can go back to them. And of course, it's very good to be grateful to all the people that helped you in your journey. Diana Walsh sending greetings from Ireland to us, coach. Hi, Diana. She's a big fan of the show, and we're very happy always to have Diana in.
I wonder if she knows Dave Proster.
Dave Posner, maybe. Yeah, Dave Posner. He's also from Ireland. A great friend. Yeah, and really one also of the great people here on LinkedIn.
Yeah, he's been incredibly helpful to me as well, and of course, Azif.
Yeah, Azif Mustafa. Yeah, shout out to all these wonderful people, coach. Tell us finally about the 2021. I see this project and also the podcasting. Tell us what's the idea you're planning for the podcasting, or it will be a surprise for us.
No, I'm happy to share. It's called The Mental Shift, really, and it's what it's going to be. It's be interviewing athletes, coaches, entrepreneurs, and individuals that give us a peek inside of when they had a significant mental shift in their life that led them to success, and being able to glean and garner from them, and how it can serve us as well, right? Serve the listening audience, and really just kind of be a blessing to a lot of people. Because anytime I listen to an interview of somebody else, I'm always listening into, how can it help me, and how can it help me help others? And so that's really kind of the premise of the show, and I am super excited about it. Working out some of the things right now on where it'll be launched, but we'll have it on all different platforms eventually, and we're probably a couple of months out before we officially launch that, maybe sooner, but please keep in mind the mental shift, and I'll go ahead and launch it definitely on LinkedIn first, and hope that it can be a great success and serve a lot of people.
Yeah, and I hope so, and I believe so. I believe in what you're doing, coach, and you have good deeds, so it will succeed. And the idea is good because a lot of people went through mental shifts and like going from stable mindset to growth mindset, and it's a good idea, and it will help a lot of people to give them hope and to change their mindset to positivity.
Absolutely, you nailed it. That's 100%. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you on the show for sure.
Sure, coach. I'll be glad, of course, and honored to come on your show anytime.
Can't wait. Consider it done, my friend.
Okay, that's great. That's great, coach. Do you have any questions to me before we go?
No, I mean, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be on your show to share with the folks that are listening, and if there's anything that I can do here on LinkedIn to help them grow, be an encouragement, just be a source where you said before, I'm at a source of hope. Then
Yes.
happy to do so. Just go ahead and either connect with me or DM me or just share with me how I can help, and I'll do everything that I can.
Yeah, thank you, coach. Of course, it's this is a part of why we're here on LinkedIn. If anybody needs help in anything, we're there sharing our knowledge and experience and providing helping hands, of course, to everyone on LinkedIn. Coach, it was great having you, and thank you to everyone who tuned in to the show. Have a great day, coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. See you soon. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.